Hello and welcome to the Pub Corner Football Podcast. So in today's episode we're going to be previewing the new season. We're all very excited for this. First podcast we're recording the season. We will be recording these every 2 weeks. So there's a various range of topics we're going to go through today, and what we will start off with is our bottom 5 prediction in the Premier League. So I'm going to go to Grant first. Grant, tell us your bottom 5.
Right, yes, so starting at the very, very bottom, at 20th, I'm going to go with Huddersfield. I look at their squad and I don't see any depth, strength, and I think they're just going to be this year's whipping boys. However, I do want to put a cheeky bet on to them do the double over Liverpool, because these sort of teams do things against like Man City and Liverpool, where they Cardiff did it a couple of years ago, where they beat Man City every time. It was hilarious. Moving on, I think Brighton are going to join Huddersfield in the relegation battle and go straight back down. Once again, I'm not really convinced with them in the market, but they could also be a shock contender, really. In 18th, I'm going to go for Watford. I think that their time is up in the Premier League, and last year, especially from December onwards, I was not convinced with any of their performances, and they've had too many changes in backroom staff with their managers changing, and the club just seems very, very unsettled. Right, and the round off the last two, they're just going to survive relegation. As much as I want to see Swansea go down, they're just going to keep staying up to spite me, I think. I'm not happy with Swansea staying up. And also, I think this will be a very close one for Leicester. They're not going from strength to strength since they won the league, so I think it's their time to really struggle.
Okay. And what type of relegation battle do you think it will be? I mean, do you think it will be close, or do you think, you say Huddersfield are going to be bottom, do you think, 1 point a season? No, is it going to be something like that?
When I say whipping boys, they're not going to be as bad as the record holders Sunderland. I think it's going to be...
It's Derby, isn't it?
Is it Derby now?
Is it Derby?
I do
It's very close.
It's Derby or Sunderland, it's one of the two.
Pretty sure Derby, I think that they had
Derby got like 12 points or something.
That's
I don't know, we'll check that.
Indeed. So I don't think they're going to be as bad as that. I mean, they will pick up points here and there in like some of the niggly games, but I reckon they're probably going to be gone by March, in my opinion. But 19th, 18th, 17th and 16th, I think this will be a very good relegation battle, which could take it to the last day of the season, in my opinion.
That's fine, no problem. Thanks, Grant. Now, Phil, to you. Can you tell us your bottom 6?
Well, 15th place, I've gone for Leicester City. They shocked us all a few years ago by winning the league, but I think they're just going to be back to being mediocre. I don't think they'll be relegation friend. I think they'll have a strong start, mid-table. Throughout the last few months, I think other teams will just get stronger and they'll settle for 15th. Depends who they have in their team next season. 16th place, Swansea. Although it's near the bottom 3, I don't think they're going to struggle this season. They've got a good coach in Paul Clements and great assistant coach in Makaleli. I think Makaleli coming into the club made a big influence in them last season. And it'd be interesting if there's been rumours about Swansea re-signing Boney from Manchester City. That'd be quite good. And
He suffers since leaving.
And the good thing about Clements is, with being a young manager and working alongside a very successful coach in Ancelotti, he knows all the young English players, and be interesting to see. Burnley 17th, they did really well last season. I think it was about time that they weren't going to get relegated first time asking. I think it's going to be a trickier situation from this time round. Yes, they've strengthened, but I think other teams have strengthened better around them. And on low finances, be interesting to see what they do. 18th place Brighton. I rate Chris Hughton very well, but I don't see them strong enough in staying in the Premier League. 9th place Watford. They just seem to change managers every season. They've had more managerial changes than Sissoko has been playing good games for any club. And rock bottom Huddersfield Town. They haven't got the finances. They're just a small village club in Yorkshire. I don't see there being any surprise packages this season, seeing teams surprising the drop and stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, some good points down. I mean, what you've echoed a bit there of what Grant said about Watford. There's a lot of changes there, and it is that they were good for the first season. But something I want to say about Watford. Something I just thought about there. Something I want to say about Watford is, you think if Watford do go down, which you both predicted. Do you think Troy Deeney will leave?
It would be a good acquisition for any club to get. Mid-level tape. I think if he would go to, I know he won't, but if he goes to like Liverpool or Man City, he will be horrifically underused and just poor. But if you put him in like the West Brom side, or maybe even Stoke, he will get the game time and will be a very handy member.
He's going to remind me of Ricky Lambert a little bit. Ageing, played really well at lower clubs, went to Liverpool, and no disrespect to him, things didn't work out, got an England cap. Deeney could play for Northern Ireland or England, if I'm correct. He hasn't had a cap yet. I reckon he could get his first England cap this season.
He should do. He should do. He's something that the England team's missing, in my opinion.
You've got other players like Pereira, who come from Juventus, Jan Matt, the right back from Newcastle. Mate, you don't know how Tom Cleverley's going to do. I do think he's underrated.
Now, I hate to start a hate speech here about Tom Cleverley,
overrated.
He stole so many England caps while playing for Man United because he played for Man United.
And I've got to agree with Grant on that.
And I solely blame Roy Hodgson. And oh God, I hate
you
this
would
man.
blame Roy Hodgson, Grant, wouldn't
But
you?
how many more times can it be for a team to change their manager on so many occasions before
Chelsea
they
made a
make a
great
drop?
career of it.
That's true, but and this is a thing going to Italian owners, for instance. They come and take over a club and they seem to do a managerial change all the time. Just look at Leeds. And a managerial change like every other month. And the first time that a manager done well for him, and even he couldn't stick around, and obviously he'll do a good job next season.
Okay. Thanks, Phil. Ryan?
Right, starting from the bottom first. Brighton and Hove Albion will finish bottom, I think. With Huddersfield as well, I think they've probably got the... I wouldn't say the two worst teams in the Premier League, but I'd say the two teams with the least experience in the Premier League, purely because of you look at their teams. There's no one really there who's going to be a standout player for them. Huddersfield will be 19th. I feel both of these teams could rival the lowest points in the league. Derby finished with 15 points in the 05-06 season. That was the worst finish in Premier League history. Sunderland had the record before that with 19.
There you
And the last one to go down will be Burnley, I think. I just feel as though they're a team not really good enough anymore. You know, there's not enough. They've lost Michael Keane, who was realistically their best player, and Tom Heaton can only be making the saves so many times before he will concede goals. Just finishing above them will be Watford. I think they've made some really good signings, and the surprise signing I thought for the stupidly cheap money, Nathaniel Chalobah.
Yes, Chelsea didn't have any room for him. Let's face it, Chelsea don't do youth. It's a barren wasteland, our youth system.
Very highly rated, very, very highly rated, and I think they've got him for a steal for £5 million. And Troy Deeney, a solid striker up front, who can get goals. Above them, Swansea. I like Swansea a lot, but there's not enough to them to finish any higher than just above the relegation zone. And above them will be Bournemouth. Again, not a team with enough to finish higher up the table.
I've got one question about you saying Burnley to go down. Turf Moor has basically been turned into like a fortress. How do you think they're going to be relegated with such a good stronghold that they've put up?
They've lost Michael Keane, who was their best defender, without question their best defender.
This is going to be a thing about a team like Burnley. Like you said earlier about Huddersfield doing the double over Liverpool. They'll go to big teams, they'll do well. I remember before Burnley in the Premier League, didn't they beat Liverpool at Arsenal in the League Cup game? Yeah? They'll probably beat Liverpool twice. They'll probably get a result out of Man United.
Lose to teams around them, though, won't
they'll probably get thrashed by the likes of Chelsea and probably lose to Tottenham. But it'll be all the smaller clubs that they underestimate where they'll get the points against.
The reason Burnley stayed up last year, realistically, was their home form.
I think
highly rated manager as well.
I think Burnley could have a similar thing to maybe what Sunderland have. Not in the fact that I don't think they'll go down, but I think the goalkeeper, he'll be good but not good enough. Like Pickford, he's a good goalkeeper, but in a Sunderland team, what could he do?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But we'll see with Pickford, with where he's just gone. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
But you know, are you done, right?
Yes,
that's you done. Okay, so now my bottom five. So I'm going to start with my number 16, which is Watford. Okay, again, I don't think they'll go down. I think they've got a good enough team to not go down. I know that's one of the worst things you can say, but I think they've got a good enough team that won't go down. But they'll be in that relegation battle. Now, 17th, Burnley. They'll be in the battle again, but I think they'll just stay up for one reason. The Ginger Mourinho. Sean Dyche is a very, very good manager. And why do people think he's a good manager? He's an English manager. But that's it. That is it. He's an English manager and people like him.
The guy that always has a sore throat, it sounds like,
Yeah.
when he talks.
Yeah, of course he does. But
I'm sorry, I can't take him seriously. He sounds like Batman. If I was in the dressing room, I just couldn't take him seriously.
I'm not going to lie, if he continues these great performances, I'll see him go to a bigger club, maybe potentially the next England manager.
yeah, but I think if that's what I was about to say. I reckon if he goes to the England team, he'll be as bad as Roy Hodgson was.
Let's not swear on camera.
Well, that's not.
To go quickly off topic, sorry, Hodge. To go quickly off topic. Do you honestly think then Southgate will not be in the job long?
We'll see, won't we? We'll see how they do in the World Cup next year, which is probably not very well. But that's for another podcast. Now, this might be a bit of a surprise to some people, but my team in 18th are Stoke.
Yeah.
They've had their time. They have had their time. They really have. They really have.
But they've got such an organised line. I mean, like, from midfield upwards, it's mediocre at best, but their back line, though, well, they're not great defenders, but they're great at hacking people
Ryan
down.
Shawcross is awful.
I'm not mentioning him by name. I can't see that, Hodge. I really can't. I mean, Stoke have
going
got
down.
not a pedigree in the Premier League, but they've got consistency to stay mid-table.
Are they reminding you of Aston Villa and Sunderland? Been in the Premier League for so long, but it's about time just to get out of the league.
Basically, yeah. Basically, that's why the way I look at Stoke. And I like Mark Hughes, good manager, but no, he's a good manager. And he didn't have a chance when he had the big job at Man City.
Mark Hughes reminds me of a paint dry, in my opinion. Just
Oh, they're a boring
it's
side.
the
This is
same
my
old
point.
Stuff.
This is exactly my
Like
point.
the Fangal era at Man United. Boring.
Agreed with that.
I think it was more confusing than boring at Man United at those times, where Stoke
Well-
is just flat out boring.
My team in 19th.
Yeah.
Leicester.
Okay,
They're not good enough.
that is true. And
Last year they showed that. They were found out. And this year again, they'll lose Mahrez and they'll be found out. Even more so. And they'll go down.
Yeah.
Easily. They've had their time. They've had their season. That was it.
Problem with Leicester City, you know, surprised us all by winning the Premier League, done really well with the Champions League. But when clubs do well, they go, you know what, I'm going to go and buy a bigger player. I think Leicester City are scared of doing it. They tried it last season with
they are.
Slimani. It hasn't worked out in all fairness. Musa hasn't really worked out. Leicester City are now looking for clubs at players at clubs that ain't performing as well and going for players like that. When really, with the finances they've got and the team that they were for the last year or two, they should be looking high up the table. And you know, if they made an offer for a player like Walcott, for instance, I honestly believe they would get them. But they're too scared of making that offer because they're scared they'll reject them for another club.
I think the thing is, Leicester for me, like I say, they've had their season, and maybe it's just a little bit of hatred inside of me towards them. Not to anything to do with Spurs, just so you know. Their whole team are snakes. How can you turn on a manager that won you the league?
yeah,
How?
You can't argue with that at all. I 100% agree with you. You know, snakes on the plane, they absolutely. Let's be honest here. When Leicester won the league, if anyone sat there and said, "Oh, well, they'll be pushing top four next year, maybe change again," they're fooling themselves.
Of course they are.
Anyone who said they're going to get relegated was being quite snide and horrible towards them.
Like me.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. If I had the money, I would have put a fiver on it myself. But luckily, I didn't. What they did was football history, and it was as a neutral who wasn't in the race that year. It was so much fun to watch.
Oh, it
Although
was.
soul crushing because we finished 10th. However, it was fantastic, and yeah, how dare they get rid of Claudio? But he'll be forever remembered in their history as like a legend.
Soul crushing for you, was it?
All right, yeah, fair enough.
Let's say, like Claudio Ranieri's greatest quotes, this is Leicester City's Dilly D, Dilly gone.
Agree with that. Well,
Yeah,
well,
can't
Phil's made
argue
that
that.
call there, hasn't he? So, and the team in 20th, Huddersfield. Jesus Christ. Like, no. They come up, they got up in the playoffs, they didn't score a goal. Well, they did, officially, but it was an own goal. They're shocking. And I just can't wait for the excitement on Sky Sports of, oh, they're playing Liverpool. Oh, 2 German managers. I don't care. Honestly, don't care. It's going to be awful. And even though you say Huddersfield, they probably will beat Liverpool twice.
I'm intrigued by only one player, just because his dad was quite famous, but they've brought in Ince. And I think he needs time to develop. And
I don't know.
No, I like the player Ince. I mean, I see him a couple of times when he was playing for was Liverpool, wasn't he? I see him a few times. And sorry,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Liverpool. Yeah, and I say he wasn't bad. He just needs time to develop. I mean, I think he may be stuck in that. It's time for him to push forward, almost like Ross Barkley. How stop being potential, start being now. And I think that's where he's going to struggle.
I think he's just a little bit better than Adel Taarabt was.
I must say about Tom Ince, you're probably going to think this is kind of weird saying that Huddersfield are a Premier League club. I actually think he's downgraded the club from Derby County, because Derby County have got a great boss in Gary Rowett, and I think next season they've got a very good chance of getting promoted, and I think Ince would be behind that. No disrespect to Ince, I don't think he's got a good chance of playing for England in the Euros, but then saying that Gareth Southgate being the manager he is, he'll look at anyone that performs well. But I think it would have been better to stay at Derby, help them get promoted, and see what happens next season. If you're going to go from a club from Derby, honestly, I'd say someone at Bournemouth and that would have done him well. Or Southampton, Southampton are always good at giving other opportunities, and then after that probably get a big move to Liverpool, like all Southampton players get. The poor tea lady, eh?
Right, moving on. Grant, your top 6.
Right, okay, I'm going to go for a shocking one for my 6th place. I'm going to say Man City. I know. Hear me out. They are spending money like it's going out of fashion, and some of the players they brought in.
That's not what Man City do, though.
I know they do, but it's fair enough that they're bringing these players in to upgrade who they're losing. But you look at the players that are losing, like Zabaleta, Clichy, and Sanya. Yeah, a lot of them are Arsenal rejects. However, they were almost like the core of their back line, and to lose so many veterans in one fell swoop and then replace them with what looks like just attacking midfielders, they're going to suffer, and they are going to be nowhere near anyone's expectations. A lot of them will say, oh, they're Man City, got money, got Guardiola, top 4, maybe even top. Me, I think they're going to have an absolute horrendous season. I can see Guardiola being sacked, because Man City's owners are going to be just as ruthless.
Yeah.
It won't be, let's say this stupid manager's merry-go-round that Chelsea started is horrific. But it will happen. It was just going to continue happening, and Man City's success will not merit what the owners want. And so Guardiola will be out, and they'll bring next yes man in my opinion.
Okay.
5th place is going to be Liverpool. I think that this year is going to be another what-if season. They're going to start off very strong, get to Christmas and start drawing these ridiculous games against Bournemouth, lose twice against Huddersfield. I'm telling you, it will happen. It is going to happen.
Have a bet on that.
I'm going to put a cheeky quid with Paddy Power. So, but yeah, Liverpool, they always do this thing where they bring in, what have they brought in? They brought in Salah. Okay, yeah, he did very well in the Italian league because he can run. No one else runs in the Italian league.
No one else plays good football in the Italian league.
Well, you've got to remember the Italian league is actually the slowest paced league. So
There we
Do you
go.
reckon he can
from
handle it?
transferring, actually, I don't think he got a fair crack at Chelsea. To be fair,
No.
I think he showed some greatness. But you look at great players that have come from Serie A to the Premier League, like Shevchenko, etc., haven't proved their worth. Name me a player that's come from. Name me a player that's come from Serie A to the Premier League that's actually been tremendous.
Pogba.
I wasn't going to say it.
Well,
But
okay,
Yeah,
so
but
just
from a lot of
quickly,
people's point
I will
of
just
view-
say, because he's just said there, we've got Trev sitting here listening in. So, and he's also just said Pogba. He will now leave.
But
trying to throw him
from
under the
everyone's
bus.
point of view, they're going to say Pogba didn't have the best of seasons, are they?
time will tell with him. So I'm going
3
to push
trophies.
on. I'm going to push on to my top 4, the ones that really count, and I'm going to go say the lack of spending is a bit worrying. So I'm going to say Tottenham in 4th, and it's
Okay.
mainly because I feel that the momentum can only take them so far. And they've had a great season last year, no one's ever going to deny that. They had a very good season beforehand, apart from the last day. So,
It was the last 3 games.
last 3 games anyway, and momentum will take them far. They're going to be strong contenders this year. It's going to be a fairly healthy title race. It's not going to be over by December. It's going to be a very, very close race. So, moving on to third, and I think Arsenal are going to leapfrog them once again and continue the streak of Arsenal being on top of Tottenham.
Same touching on day.
In second place, I'm going to go for Man United. You don't know what Man United team is going to turn up this year. Mourinho has a great way of making teams work. Last year, people say, "Oh, they didn't do that good." They still won effectively, the League Cup, Europa League, and if you want to count the Charity Shield, you can.
It's a trophy. It's a trophy.
Indeed.
It's a trophy.
So it'd be called as a junior treble, if you will, to make things a bit half and half. A junior treble. Stop giving me dirty looks, people.
No, I agree with him.
Anyway, and of course, probably a bit biased here, but I want to see how Morata gets on, and I reckon Chelsea will be the league champions this year.
Okay.
I think it'll be a Vauxhall bus that turns up for Man United this season. They're not going to Yokohama tyres again, are they? That's what will happen at Chelsea.
Phil, your top 6.
I'm going for top 7, and only because 7th place could incur Europa League football next season. So 7th place, West Ham United. I think they've done really well in the transfer market.
They'll only play well when they play Spurs.
Plus, this season it'll be their second season at the London Stadium, and
whatever it's called.
I forgot what the stadium's called. It's
It's
called
the
London
Stadium.
London Stadium. I think Queen Elizabeth
Vodafone
Park
Stadium.
sounded better. I've been hearing
Tesco
Tesco Stadium.
Whatever they call themselves these
The bags
days.
will still be 5p. Trust me. I think they've done really well in the. I think they've done really well in the transfer market this season. It'd be interesting to see how the likes of Joe Hart, Sabaleta, and Hernandez cope. However, the second season at home, they'll feel more at home. I'm going for 6th place for Tottenham Hotspur. People say that Wembley woes will continue. I suppose it's going to be like a cup final for every team that turn up there, including
Agreed.
Liverpool. We say about Tottenham Hotspur not making much signings, but then last season, did they make many signings last season even?
Sissoko and Janssen.
That's it. And them two were out of the team 8 times out of 10, and Tottenham still performed brilliant. I thought they'd done better than the season before.
We did. Come
They
second.
do well. They do well, Tottenham, but they just can't make it in. It's just like having 6. Just before you go have 6, and they get floppy. That's Tottenham. My opinion about Tottenham.
Bit harsh, isn't it?
Just to quickly counteract you here, because you sort of contradicted yourself. You said Spurs are going to do well with the team they've got, but you put them in 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes
but
sense there, mate.
this is why with the top. Yeah, but the teams above them have made some decent signings that I believe will surplus Tottenham this season.
Give the man his opinion.
But I think it'd be their home form that would be a lot better this season than their away form.
Like last year then.
Champions League. I think they'll do better than Champions League. Yeah, but it's at Wembley this time, so what a heart.
We were defeated at home last year.
All right, I've got that
Dear,
one.
oh dear. Carry on, mate.
Who cares? Spurs are no threat this season. Let's say that.
Okay.
We're going to Liverpool. This is not their year again. This is their year though to get 5th place. Be interested to see if Coutinho stays or not. But I think even if Coutinho leaves, they're going to have a good season. Mane will do well. I think Salah's going to show his worth. Be interesting if Solanke does. If Sturridge can stay fit, it doesn't. He'll do well and earn himself a transfer to Chelsea again. And I believe Klopp will keep hold of him. The only interesting thing with Liverpool is that which goal are they going to use, Mignolet or Carriers? So that would be an interesting situation. I think Mignolet will do well. 4th place, I'm going to say Arsenal will do it this season. I think Ozil looks more committed. Lacazette, you know what? I think he's going to be near the top of the goal scorers in the Premier League. Potential Golden Boot. The only thing that affects Arsenal is that they haven't really made much improvement to their defence, which has been their weak point for the last few years. I suppose they'll start using Mertesacker again towards the end of the season and give him another contract, but we all know that's going to change. And 3rd place will be last season's champions, Chelsea. You know, coming from a Man United fan point of view, I thought Chelsea did deserve to win the league last season. I think the signings they've done is terrific, but second season syndrome to Conte. I don't think as much as he signed a contract, Conte's not too happy at Chelsea. I do think he could be out the door during the season. I think his relationship with Roman Abramovich will fail, and I think that will put a lot of pressure onto the locker room. Second place is going to go for Man United. I think Jose's team's going to do a lot better this season. personally. I think Lukaku's gonna prove himself. I thought last season he didn't really prove it against the bigger clubs whilst going for Everton, but the pressure's going to be on him, especially with the price tag. And I think Pogba's going to do a lot better. I think De Gea's more committed this season. Be interested to see what the likes of Lindelof does. Hopefully he won't have a flop season, but not just saying it because they're the highest spenders in the Premier League, but Man City, I think Guardiola's got a lot to prove. If he doesn't achieve results, then he'll leave. He won't get sacked, he'll quit. And we've said this over the years, Guardiola's walked into a team that's been prepared for him, and this time City hasn't. It's been an ageing team.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's done really well in the transfer market, especially getting Kyle Walker from Spurs. But I'm sure that would backfire on him when now Danilo signed. Which you'd rather Danilo starts, wouldn't you? Ahead of Walker, and he'll be in the reserves.
I really don't care.
But they've got a lot to prove, and I'm not just, like I said, I'm not just saying it because the money they spend, but I think this season they're going to do well. It's going to be a close season, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Ryan?
Okay, I'm going top 7 again, like Phil, because obviously the outside chance of the Europa League. Despite a massive transfer window for Everton, I put them 7th.
Okay.
Purely because of I think the teams above them just have a better quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously Everton losing Lukaku, their main goal scoring threat. They brought in some fantastic players, but I don't see any of them rivaling Lukaku's goal scoring. So that's why I put them 7th. In 6th place I've gone for Liverpool. I think they're a very good attacking side, defensively not very good, so I can't see them challenging too much for the Champions League places. Arsenal, again, another team like Liverpool, defensively not good enough. Just, in my opinion, an ageing goalkeeper who is not good enough anymore, and depending on formation, back 3 of possibly Gabriel, who's nowhere near good enough anymore, Koscielny, Mustafi, who does get injured quite a lot, and Mertesacker, who is, well,
Slightly.
Gabriel was never good enough to begin with.
he's that slow. He honestly looks like he's buffering when he runs.
Wow.
I've gone for 4th place Spurs purely because of, like the others have said, I think the lack of signings for Spurs and the spending power of United, City and Chelsea. I do think Spurs will still finish Champions League places, but not going to challenge for the title. And another thing for Spurs would be Wembley. The aura around Wembley is that it's meant to be the home of football. It's meant to be a privilege to play there. To play there every single week, I think it's going to lose that effect, and I can't see Spurs doing well at Wembley at all. I think their home form will affect them this year. At White Hart Lane it was fantastic. This year no. I think their away form might be better than their home form. 3rd place I've gone Man United, purely because at the minute United have only made 2 signings, Lindelof and Lukaku. Mourinho has wanted 4 signings. If they sign that 3rd player, potentially they could finish higher, but I think he's still, like he said a couple of years ago, it's still a little horse. He's still got to milk it, he's still got stuff like that. Get it there, and I think a season or 2 they'll be definitely challenging for the title. I think Man City will go and finish 2nd this year. The spending power of Manchester City is ridiculous, and I think the fact that Jesus and Aguero up front is going to be a very dangerous attacking threat.
Indeed.
With Bernardo Silva on the wings as well, and 2 fullbacks who, with Mendy and Walker, look very, very good. Walker and Rose last year were the 2 best fullbacks in the league. No one can argue that.
Be interested to see what Gundogan does this season. If he stays injured,
he was out a lot last season,
I think he'll do really well.
And a player who is definitely one of the best in the league, Kevin De Bruyne. His assists to the front 2 are going to be ridiculous. As much as I hate to say it as well, I think Chelsea will finish top of the league purely because of last season. They were ridiculously good, and the players they've signed can only improve that team. Bakayoko with Kante in midfield, I mean that's just a brick wall. No one's getting past that. Fabregas could be playing as a substitute. That's just ridiculous. Had to have Fabregas on your bench. Morata, he's played in Spain and in Italy, and he's done well in both leagues. So in England, I think that will suit him as well.
My only issue with Morata is that he's obviously untested in the Premier League, and players coming in from foreign leagues, they tend to have that first season where they're just not physically or mentally strong enough to deal with like the ever famous cold Tuesday night in Stoke, or some of the moments don't get to them. Like they don't really understand like how a proper derby is done, because like if you look at a derby in Italy, it's just when fans go to war with each other, whereas the war really should take place in the stadium, not with glass bottles and bricks.
They're doing Italy.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think though that the fact that Conte has worked I'd say he works with Morata. It was his decision to sign Morata to Juventus before Conte went to Italy.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that was a big choice for Morata, and I think Conte will get the best out of Morata.
I think Spanish, isn't he, Morata?
Yes.
You know all about Spanish strikers,
Yeah.
Grant?
The last one was awesome. Costa.
Actually, he's a Spanish fool. He's Brazilian. I do not know why he went to
So what about the
Spain.
Spanish striker before him then?
Oh no, he should not be named. No, not at all.
A 50 million signing Fernando Torres.
Fernando
Oh
Torres.
yes.
He kept the receipt.
Now we'll move on to my top 6. So I've got 6th, I've got Everton. Okay, they've made a few signings, but at the end of the day, these signings they've made are good players in worse teams, in my opinion.
Do you think that the fact that a lot of them are quite young, that in a couple of years' time they could potentially challenge you for that title?
No, I don't think Koeman's a very good manager either.
Do you not?
No. He's alright for teams like Everton and teams like Southampton. If you put him at a team like Barcelona, Real Madrid, United City, he would be very good, in my opinion. No, I just don't like that guy.
No, fair
Just,
enough.
that's just me. 5th, Arsenal. I think the Europa League is going to hurt them, because it hurts a lot of teams apart from maybe Chelsea and Man United.
Right there.
But yeah, it will hurt them. They're not used to it, And
Sorry to interrupt. I do think as well the fact that they're playing. I think it's out of their six group games in the Europa League, 5 of them are away.
yeah,
The
and
next
some of the
game,
teams you
Europa
get
League.
away in the Europa League is far Europe.
Like
And
carrier bag and bloody what was the one you faced?
Korabag.
A quarter bag. My apologies.
But yeah, like Azerbaijan or something. What? These stupid teams you never heard of. Okay, so I think that will hurt them, and Lacazette will score goals, but will he score as many goals as they think he would for the price they paid him? For me, I'm not just being biased. No.
Will Sanchez stay?
Let's just say Astra knocked West Ham out the Europa League last season. So,
But the funny thing
little
about
crappy teams like that tend to shock
the
us.
funny thing about that is West Ham got into the Europa League for fair play and then got 4 players sent off in 2 games. West Ham for you.
That's a West Ham hater right there.
My 4th place team are Spurs. I think I have to, as a Spurs fan, say that next season won't be as good as the last one.
Why though?
I don't know what it is. No one is comfortable. We're not as comfortable as playing at Wembley. I don't think we'll lose a lot of games at Wembley. I think we'll draw quite a few games at Wembley. Like at that game where you're going to go and play Brighton and you'll think, yes, we're at home, we can win this, and we'll draw 0-0. But we'll win games when we need to, and we'll clinch 4th. And I'll be happy with that, because then we can get into our new stadium a year after and feel a bit better. But then that could be even worse. I don't know. We'll see. I'm praying to God. My 3rd place team are Chelsea. I think that again they'll do alright, but a couple of years, they didn't have Champions League last year, and this year they may be, okay, we're playing Champions League now, it's different, more physical demands, playing more matches. They'll do alright, but yeah, they'll come 3rd. My team in 2nd will be City, just because, yeah, they've spent a load of money, but Guardiola can't handle this league. I'm sorry. Again, I'm echoing what Phil says. He has come in to teams prepared for him and teams that have got all these great players and they're great. And to be honest, I'd have won the league with Barcelona. I'd have won the league with Bayern Munich. My dog would have won the league with Barcelona.
Seems like the Spanish can't handle the Premier League.
Well, no, exactly. And then we move forward now to my champions, which I think are Man United, because I'll come out and say it. They might have signed a Kaku and signed that Lindelof and a couple of signings there, but Mourinho's 2nd season.
Now, I I see where you're coming from, because we don't know what Paul Pogba we're going to get this year, or can Mkhitaryan turn up for these games as well, because he was one of your best players last year, guys. He
Amazing
was
player.
brilliant, and if you can keep De Gea as well, that'd be an even better boost to you. But let's face it, last 3 seasons he's been flirting with Real Madrid. Is it just a matter of time now, or
No.
where can you go with this? I think your main issue is probably defensive, and once again trying to find that Paul Scholes replacement you've been craving for years now.
Well, I thought that was Tom Cleverley.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? Was it one man Vince
I don't know.
Anderson?
It's Carrick.
Oh, it's Carrick.
Well,
is
of
it?
course, yeah. No, I'll
the
give you
ten-
that.
captain.
Carrick.
The tender age of 33.
He's
now?
a great player.
He's
though.
a great player.
Whoa. Look at some of the best Asian players, though. You get someone like Ryan Giggs. He was one of the best players in Premier League history.
He was an evergreen. He turned 30 and got quicker. He was an absolute phenomenal player. You can't replicate that though.
I think Man United always went wrong in selling Park Ji-sung, in my opinion.
What a player.
His knees will go, no, to be fair.
He always turned up for the big games,
And he's
didn't
back
he?
as an ambassador.
Feed Lukaku and he will score.
And it'll be interesting what Marcus Rashford does this season as well.
Yes.
I think he's going to be brilliant. I think Mourinho's actually got set well for him next season. Differences compared to other seasons that Mourinho's planning on having a 2-man attack this season. Normally you just use 1-man striker.
And Martial looks very impressive as well.
If he doesn't go to Inter Milan, and I do honestly think 90% chance that Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be back in January.
Okay. Right, what I want to move on to is not a big touch on this, transfers. I think you've got a little bit to say about this, haven't you, Grant?
Yeah, I've got in front of me like the big summer signings so far. I
Yeah.
mean, who knows after this podcast is aired, there may have been a few we've missed, but we'll be keeping you updated with our Twitter feed. But there's a couple I want to point out for just, honest to God, why? Why have these players been acquired? Like my main one I'm looking at, just mainly for the price, was to Leicester City, Harry Maguire for about 17.5 million.
And where did they sign him from again?
Hull City.
Thank you.
Hull, a team that got relegated.
Yeah, 17.5 million for someone who I think, with my knees in the state they are now, I could probably take him 1-on-1. He's atrocious. You paid money for Harry
The
Maguire?
reason why, and it's obvious to every single team who need them, homegrown status. You need players, homegrown status. Any English player or any player that's been trained at the club between 15 and 21 are worth billions.
Yeah.
Just to the listeners, Grant has just had knee surgery. So, just so you all know that. Alright?
Indeed. But moving on to other signings, you've got to look at West Ham. They've brought in, they can either be 4 very, very good signings or one hell of a worst season syndrome ever. Because we've got Zabaleta, who's pushing on in age, but can bring some good experience.
Yep.
We've got Joe Hart, who had a horrific season last year with Torino.
But that's Torino.
True, but in the Italian league, you thought he is our number 1 keeper for the foreseeable future. I agree, he shouldn't be as well. And I just think that maybe Joe Hart is slipping now, so he needs a defence in front of him to take care of him. And at West Ham, I don't think he's going to get that.
Okay.
You look at Arnautovic. I didn't mind him. I thought he was half decent. He will be brilliant if Andy Carroll can stay fit, but he won't. So Arnautovic will be wasted. And as for Hernandez, all I can think of is what happened to Middlesbrough last year. They had Valdez at the back and Negredo up front, and they got relegated with these players. West Ham have got Hart at the back and Hernandez up front. I don't know if that's going to be good enough.
Something I want to say about Hernandez is I've heard people say he's going to be so good, he was so great in the Premier League last time. Look who he had around him in the Premier League last time. He hasn't got that now.
Indeed. I'm not taking anything away from him. When he was at Man United, he was a phenomenal player.
He was.
Some of the goals he scored was incredible. And I think he was very badly misused, not just by Ferguson, but with like Moyes who come in afterwards and Van Gaal. They literally just forgot about him and got rid of him as quick as they could.
Yeah.
And that's a crime in my opinion.
It's big. Okay. Anything else you've got to say on transfers, Grant?
Just the usual ones. It's all about what we're going to see. I mean, you look at Arsenal, they brought in Lacazette. You look at Chelsea, brought in Morata. You look at United, who have brought in Lukaku. They're good signings if they turn up.
Of course, yeah, and I can completely agree with that. And I don't know whether Ryan and Phil would agree with that as well.
Well, looking at Lacazette's stats over the last few years, he's been one of the best strikers in Europe. And I think
in the French league.
It is indeed the French league. So only time will tell how good he is. I think with Arsenal, if Wenger does adopt this new formation, I think it will only do wonders for someone like Lacazette and Ozil, because Ozil will and can assist anything.
Yeah.
So I think Lacazette will flourish from that. Depending on whether Sanchez stays as well, that will be a big factor for Arsenal. Lukaku, I think he has better service now, and Mourinho knows him, knows the sort of player he's getting there. So I think that's good. And Pogba will have a better season as well this year.
I think Lacazette joined Arsenal because I believe he's there to replace Sanchez. I think Arsene Wenger's pretty sure that Sanchez will go to maybe Man City or Bayern Munich. Ozil's so committed now to the club. I think he'll be a great assist next season. I think Xhaka as well will assist to him. You're right, going with Lukaku. He was second chance at a big club in my opinion. He done really well with Everton. Maybe once again didn't get as much chances at Chelsea. He's been given a second chance under the coach that let him go from the club. His big task is, will he be able to do it against bigger teams? Well, that's false because Man United is the biggest team, so there's going to be no bigger teams above them.
Oh, here we go.
But against the likes of City, Liverpool, actually no, Liverpool ain't big. Tottenham, Arsenal. Yeah, I do. I think there's only going to be one team who'll flop against this season. That's Everton. There's
Probably
players do that against their
that's why it happens.
former club, so it'd be interesting what he can do this season.
Okay, so to finish off now, quick fire. Grant, your standout performer.
This year, I'm going to go biased. I'm going to say Morata's going to be a hit this year. He is going to replace Costa completely, bang the goals in.
Fantastic. Phil?
Mkhitaryan. I did originally go for Wilfred Zaha because I think he's going to be tremendous. I think he'll get a bigger move maybe in January or towards the end of this campaign. Mkhitaryan was a hit and miss last season, but especially in Europa League, he was magnificent, and the best is yet to come from him. I think he could do just as good as what Ronaldo did there next season, and I think he's going to be a worry for other clubs. Honestly, I think he's going to be the best player in the squad.
Stand-up performer, Ryan.
Purely because we see glimpses of him last season and before he got injured, Gabriel Jesus.
The second coming.
I honestly think he will be that good.
Okay.
I wouldn't compare him to Neymar, but I think he can be very, very good and maybe even close to Neymar in years to come.
Okay.
Future PSG player.
Potentially.
My standout performer for the team who I've picked as champions, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
I think Marcus Rashford is a fantastic player, and he could really push forward if he's allowed to. I could be wrong here, but if he's allowed to, he's my standout performer. Your flop, go Grant.
I'm going to go Jermaine Defoe.
You sure?
He is now at an age where he is going to be past it, and I think for years he suffered at Sunderland trying to keep them up, and he finally failed. And don't get me wrong, I do love Jermaine Defoe. I think he's a fantastic striker, but I think now it's his time for him to go, and I'm done. And he will end up probably at Birmingham with Harry Redknapp just to rekindle that relationship again.
Of course that's going to happen.
And his time is up.
Okay.
Got an interesting fact actually about Marcus Rashford. I read it the other day. Going with his jersey number 19, and there was a reason behind why he got given a 19 jersey, and it's all because Mourinho said he wants the number 9 on his back. Believes he's going to be obviously the next big thing at Manchester United. So obviously Lukaku took number 9 this season, so maybe, I'd say his future number 9, but then Lukaku's obviously got it, but he wanted to make him feel worth for the team. So I think Mourinho's going to have a lot of faith in him next season as a striker, maybe outfield sometimes. Okay. But he's going to thrive next season.
Phil, who's your flop?
I'm going for Joe Hart.
I
think he's at an age now he ain't going to do too well. He done all right at Torino, but you heard their president saying that I've never seen a goalkeeper leak so many goals like Joe Hart, and I just think it should have been a permanent move. But I think he's going to flop at West Ham. He won't stay at West Ham. He'll go back to City, and then he'll be sent to maybe another club such as maybe if Sunderland get promoted next season.
Yeah. You flop, Ryan?
As much as he'll be surrounded by great players, I think Bakayoko. I just feel like the Premier League is a very physical league, a very pacey league, and I think he will potentially.
Well, there's always a fear with a new Chelsea player being lost under the fold of all these other players around him. I mean, we could be sitting there looking at this Bakayoko Matic partnership, but in reality, it's more likely going to be Kante and Fabregas.
My flop is Kyle Walker.
Any bitter feelings there, or
It's not a bit of feeling. He just won't be as much of a player as he was. Won't be as much of a player as he was without Pochettino. Pochettino was the driving force behind how good he become. For me,
I think he showed a bit of disrespect towards Tottenham. I thought you're right. I thought he got treated really well, but it seems him and Pochettino's relationship broke down, and he's gone for the money. In my personal, I've heard rumours that he never really liked it at Tottenham.
What was there not to like though? That's what I'm saying. We were doing all right, and he just wants more.
But the only thing this does well for is Trippier, because I think it's going to be a tremendous right back next
Trippier
season.
can cross the ball, whereas
He's going to
Walker can't.
do well in the. I think he'll be in the England squad for the Euros.
You want to hope
I
so?
think the one thing that will get Walker is the sign of Danilo from Real Madrid. Yeah, he didn't work out for him there, but I think he's going to be immense for City. I mean, okay, he could play midfield as well, but and obviously he wouldn't have signed him without having a place for both of them in the team. But I could honestly see that Walker, you're right, could flop and Danilo be in the position, because Guardiola likes using his fullbacks completely different to what Pochettino does. I mean, Pochettino wants his fullbacks to literally just run down the flanks. Guardiola likes his thing when his fullbacks way into midfield. We'll be able to cope with that.
Do you don't think then that potentially that will improve Walker?
No, not for me.
No, because he personally thinks he's a big fish in a little pond at Tottenham, but he's going to be a small fish in a big pond at Manchester City, in my opinion.
However,
I think
for
City.
that paycheck, I'd do it. I'd sit on that Man City.
But I think City done it because they need more English players.
yeah,
If I'm perfectly honest.
it's actually a very.
This
good
is the one thing I've got to respect about Man City before we close off tonight. Yeah, it's bad, but a lot of their money is actually spent on actually English players. So they've not gone, I'm going to buy you a board. No Englishman. Got a lot of respect for that.
Quick fire now again before we finish. First manager out, Grant.
Houghton.
Phil.
Rafa Benitez.
Houghton.
So we've got two go Houghton here. You lot have you have little faith, you do.
No, they have little faith in Houghton. He is a good manager.
If you look at Chris Houghton in the Premier League, he always gets sacked.
He was 11th with Newcastle when he got sacked.
He always gets sacked. You're sitting there when he got sacked.
My first manager out is Craig Shakespeare,
It's a good shout, actually. But
because I think he'll go.
very quickly onto Houghton. It's because he's not a yes man. He wants to do his way, his thing. It's all about how he wants to do this, and that's exactly what the managers should be doing. And as soon as they stop being a yes man, they're gone.
We get rid of Pochettino.
You'll bring Tim Sherwood back.
Gonna hit him in a minute. No, Houghton could go there if he does well with Brighton, because he's a Spurs
Do you
man.
honestly think that?
He's a Spurs man.
He wouldn't go back.
He's a Spurs man.
Would that be your first choice then? If
Wouldn't be my first choice, absolutely not. But I'm
There we
thinking.
go then. So.
Well, what I'll do now then is we're going to end that there. Thank you very much for your input, gentlemen. Please feel free to comment below, subscribe, and please follow the Twitter, which is Pub Corner @Pub Corner PCFC. Thank you.